This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour,
supported by Albertson
and
Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now, your hosts, Danny Sarek and Brad Sham.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to week 13.
Sure.
Okay, we'll go with that.
It feels like week 80.
Yeah, it does. This is our regular Monday night stop, presuming this is Monday, during the Cowboys season, and we are delighted, as always, to have with us all of you who are wherever you are around the Dallas Cowboys radio network. And if you are streaming on DallasCowboys.com, wave to everybody, Danny. And now I will wave to everybody. And now we will introduce our very special guest, Cowboys rookie center, Tyler Biadasz. Tyler, how are you? Thanks for your time.
Hey, how are you doing? I'm good.
We're doing great. And so Tyler is currently on injured reserve, which is why he did not travel today, Monday/Saturday, to Baltimore. Look at you nodding like I'm making any kind of sense at all, like you know what the hell I'm talking about.
It's an interesting week.
Yeah, it is. As we were just discussing before we went on here, it's an interesting year. So the Cowboys, of course, Mike McCarthy was kind of, I'm going to say complaining a little, whining a little about playing 3 games in 12 days. And now it's going to be 2 games in 5 days, but no games in, when was the last game?
Thanksgiving.
How many years ago was that? I mean, this is really ridiculous. And so the game's in Baltimore tomorrow night. For players, game day is Sunday. That makes today Saturday, but in real life it's Monday, which is why Tyler is so nice to give us on short notice some time to visit with everyone, and so everyone can get to know you. And so we're grateful. We appreciate it very much.
I appreciate being on the show.
I'm looking at your picture in the, I guess it's the media guide. It's also in a Cowboys online thing, and the beard is much shorter, and so is your hair. But then that's kind of the essence of the year. Is this your natural preferred look? This is not helping those of you listening on the radio at all, so forgive me. But it's not Travis Frederick like, but it's better than Sean Lee. Okay, so is this your natural preferred look, or is this kind of pandemic? Oh, what the hell?
I do shape it up quite often during the season. But as you said before, it's kind of a pandemic kind of go around type of season, and I do grow it out during the season though. I've always done that. Through high school and through college, and it's like a field thing. It's like a football kind of thing. But with the pandemic and everything, a lot of people just don't go to a lot of barbershops anymore during this.
Or get dressed. Or there's a lot of things that people aren't doing. So injured reserve this year, of course, was changed to accommodate fluctuating rosters because of thank you, COVID. And so when a player goes on injured reserve, you have to miss 3 games. And this one, tomorrow night, is your 3rd. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So Pittsburgh, was that what it was?
Yeah, at Pittsburgh. That's when I got my injury.
So can we just talk about that for a minute? Because, I've got this big Excel chart that I do, and I have it out in front of me so my spotter can help me find people on it. And there you are. You're the center, and as far as I knew, you were going to be the center forever and ever, amen. And you went through warm-ups, and then Christy Scales, our sideline reporter, said, yeah, I don't think Tyler's going to play.
Yeah,
what'd you do, son? What happened there?
No, I mean, I just, we came out of warm-ups, and, I was doing my normal stretching, and when I was warming up, I did a couple takeoffs, and, the second one, I just, didn't feel right, and, I checked with the trainers, and, I wanted to go, and they held me off, but, it was just, it was kind of like that little freak thing, it's just, it's 2020 in a nutshell, but, it was was disappointing, but at the same time, you know, it was a quick turnaround. You know, coming from a mindset of, you know, you're playing the game and everything like that, and then you know, that happens. It's very unfortunate. You know, how much time and effort you put into it. It's one of those things where you just gotta, you know, roll with the punches. And you know, right when it happened, you know, I talked to the trainers, and you know, they decided I couldn't go, and you know, I kind of agreed with them because I was in, you know, pretty good pain. But you know, I talked to Joe, and I just was like, "Hey, Joe, like, you're going," and you know, he was just like, "All right," you know, and you know, that's what we prepare for, because we know how, you know, this year's going, but in all reality, like, that is football, and that's why we have the depth chart we have, and you know, there was no questions being asked. Joe was ready, and you know, he played a hell of a game. But yeah, that you know, that was a freak kind of thing, and you know, I hoping that never happens again.
Well, you're no stranger to injury because you're a football player, and you guys learn to play with pain. But I remember when Christy told us that, and our radio booth is pretty high up, and so I grabbed my binoculars and I found you, and you didn't look happy. You didn't look completely pleased, and what I was kind of getting from your body language was, seriously, right now before kickoff? Was that about right?
Yeah,
and I might have cleaned it up a little bit. But.
Yeah, I think you cleaned up a little bit too. No, I mean, that's very frustrating, you know, because you know, coming from you know, playing, and that was probably going to be my like sixth or seventh game playing, and you know, as you progress every week, you look to get better every week, at least, you know, like 1%, 2%, whatever it is that you can build throughout a week and learn from the last game. And you know, I thought like a lot of things were clicking, and a lot of adjustments I was picking up on and everything like that. And you know, when that happens and you don't have any control over it after, because it wasn't like a pain tolerance kind of thing, it was a muscle. So you know, it's not a thing you can like put tape on and be like, all right, you can go back in. So it was very disappointing to me, and you know, I had my moment of you know, minute and a half of frustration, and you know, my trainers, you know, Jim and Britt came over by me, and they were just honest with me, and you know, and they told me that, you know, you can't do anything about it, and you know, I was frustrated enough to, you know, punch the bench a little bit, and Jim, he reminded me that he didn't want me to break my wrist, so it was one of those times where he's just like, you know, that's not going to help you out, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right. In the heat of it, and that's where, you know, your mentality has to switch, and you got to know what you can control now, and the thing I could control at the moment was, how can I help out Joe as much as possible, like, how can I help out my team as much as possible, and how can we win this game, you know, and I, you know, roll with the punches, and you know, if I could get, you know, if I could pick up on stuff and check the iPad while people are in the games, and you know, talk to Coach Philbin and see what we're doing. You know, when we were on offense, I was hanging by the QBs, making sure I got the call so I could help them out after a series, and you know, and then just getting, you know, water for your teammates, or just simple stuff where they don't have to you know, use up that energy, and even like getting the defense hyped up, you know, like, and especially like that game itself, you know, it came down the wire, and you know, unfortunately we lost the game, but you know, we played really well, and you know, how much I was a part of that, you know, I thought, you know, my effort and my contribution, even though I was inactive, you know, that still can affect the game. And, you know, I know that, and it's unfortunate how the situation happened, but, you know, that's the reality, and I had to switch that, you know, in a minute, which is, you know, not ideal, but that's football though, you know. It's the unknowns, and unfortunately that happened, but, you know, after that injury, and I knew I was going to be better for it, you know, I was going to be better, being aware of, you know, what I could have done better to prepare for that.
And then if you didn't know it already, as you have since found out, when you're around Brett Brown, there's not a lot of feeling sorry for yourself time that's allowed.
You're very right about that.
Yeah, I've known Brett a long time, but people don't know him. They don't see him. So, Brett, for those of you who don't know, maybe you've seen him from a distance. You will only see him like before a game, running with cords, helping players stretch out and that kind of thing. But he's in charge of rehab, right?
Yep.
So how would you describe the Britt Brown rehab experience?
Well, I remember, I came out of the Cleveland game, and I was in some pain. I just wanted to check out something. I got like a rib shot, and this is actually a funny story because we always joke about it now, and I was really pain. The game came out to wire. You got a lot of adrenaline and everything, and after the game, and after we broke, like the locker room talk after, I went over by Britt and Jim, and the doctor was checking it out and everything, and I was good, but it was just like a bruised rib or whatever, and I go over to Britt, and he's just like, it's not fatal, and I'm like, I looked at him, I'm like what? I'm like, okay, I didn't, and he's just like, you're gonna be fine. It's not fatal, and I'm like, all right, and I'm like good, and I walked away, and it's been a laugh since that day, and after this actual injury, he didn't say that in the moment, at Pittsburgh, but after the game, I looked at him, I'm like, hey, at least it's not fatal, and we just had a laugh, but he's a guy that he's going to give it to you straight, and I really appreciate that because you don't want to sugarcoat any of this, and this is a very demanding sport, and but the Britt Brown experience is it's quite straight and entertaining at the same time.
I mean, you'd rather play in the game than be out working with Britt, right? Certainly, you'd rather practice.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I've had guys telling me that practice is a breeze compared to what he'll put you through. We're going to take our first break, and then we're going to take a deeper dive on getting to know Cowboys rookie center Tyler Biadasz, who won the Remington Trophy. Travis Frederick never won the Remington Trophy, just so you know. But we'll get into that a little bit more. What a great career this young man's got in front of him, and it may resume Sunday in Cincinnati if, in fact, Sunday is when the next game is.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I can't take more confusion. Let's just get through this game. Let's get through
fine.
Baltimore.
Okay, good. When is it?
Tomorrow.
Okay, good. The Cowboys Hour, the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, is brought to you in part by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Lou Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Back with Cowboy center Tyler Biadasz when the Cowboy Hour continues.
the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back to the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Danny Sarek, and our special guest this evening, Cowboys center Tyler Biadasz, who will be done with his stint on injured reserve, or let me not speak for the trainers and the medical staff. He's eligible to be done with his injured reserve stint after tomorrow's game in Baltimore. And do they even tell you what the plan is? Are they whether to expect to work you back in or get ready to play Cincinnati, or does that just happen when they come back?
Well, I'm going to definitely talk to the trainers when they come back from the game. But Britt does a pretty good job of letting me know ahead of time, so he'll probably text me like after the game, or just because, I mean, it's a short week too, so it's really, these circumstances are very odd. You don't really see them very often.
Thank goodness.
But yeah, so we'll find out soon. But definitely ready to get back on the field and go out and compete and play the game.
Tyler, before you were drafted, can we go back a little? Are you okay to go back
We
in time?
can go
Brad?
wherever you want.
I found this to be super interesting because you didn't even move to the offensive side of the ball until college.
Yep.
And so in high school, and if I'm correct, you were actually recruited to play defensive tackle, right, to Wisconsin?
Yes. I was recruited as a defensive tackle and a defensive end every other place except Wisconsin. I was recruited for both at Wisconsin. In my recruiting process, I was recruited for offensive line and defensive line. They did not know where I was going to end up, and it was more so like the need of a spot, like if the offensive line needed more help than the other, because they really didn't know.
So when you chose Wisconsin, you knew there was a chance you were going to be on offense. That didn't, I guess, deter you from other schools. You weren't just set on playing defense where you were comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin was one of those schools that I always wanted to go to. I always wanted to play for my home state, and that was the only Division I college, and I really loved the coaches, defense and offensively. And it was one of those choices where you had pride in playing for the school you really wanted to go to, whether it was on defense or offense. And I didn't know how technically, offensive linemen moved when I first went into college. I didn't, I had no idea what a post and a kick leg was. It didn't occur to me.
Well, now you got to stop and tell everybody else.
It was just one of those times where, I came from a D5 school, Amherst, Wisconsin, and, we were an option running team, and, you don't really pick up on the college old offensive line fundamentals as much as maybe a D1 school does, or have that experience. And no doubt I was doing, I was probably beating more people athletically on offense than technically sound, fundamentally. But no, I talked to Coach. I remember I talked to Coach Chris before I verbally committed there, and I was just like, do I have a shot at defense? And he's just like, yeah, you do. But also, we got to consider where the team needs are, and I understood that, and I knew there was a chance. And I remember when I went in the first day, I had knee braces in my locker, and I had offensive line cleats, and I was just like, all right, let's go. I had a number 61 jersey, and I was like, all right, let's do it, And I remember the foundation of old linemen before me, and it was a great group, and I was really blessed with the people that I had in front of me, and I think 6 of them are in the NFL right now, so it was a very good chance for success, and I had a great offensive line coach, and it worked out very well.
Now, what other places recruited you on defense only?
Iowa, Minnesota, and then I had North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Illinois State, Northern Illinois, and then Western Illinois and Southern Illinois.
So was it the Wisconsin coaching staff that said, we're looking at you at offense also? And was that the first time that had come up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happened during the recruiting process?
Mm-hmm.
And what was your first reaction to that?
Well, it was funny because I didn't really know how to take it because it was my first interaction with it. I'm like, okay,
Like, I'm not good enough to play defense for you? Is that what was that part of your thinking?
Well, it was interesting because no one really mentioned it. And I'm like, okay, but in what position, because there's a height difference too. Like, I'm coming from a D5 school, so I'm not even thinking like a center. Like, at first I'm like, okay, guard, like center. I never snapped a ball ever in my life, like never. And I remember when Coach Rudolph told me, like, you're gonna work at center and guard, and I'm like, okay. And I remember because one of my teammates in high school, he actually was teammates with me in college at Garrett Groshek. I would start snapping a football, and right after I verbally committed. So, like, I was just getting the snaps down. Like, I had no idea, at first. But, this is only technically, like, my 5th year playing the position. And it's actually pretty unique coming from for how much, like, you progress after, you do, like, thousands of snaps, so, but.
I mean, that's just amazing. You hadn't snapped a ball, and then you end up getting drafted to play in this position. I mean, I think it says a lot about your natural ability to play the game and athletic ability. How much, though, of playing center, how much easier was that transition because you knew how to play on the other side of the ball?
I think it was huge. It was actually funny. My first year, I redshirted at Wisconsin, and I remember, not to give myself a pat on the back, but like when you
if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it?
No, but I remember my first year, a lot of the starting offensive linemen wanted me to play defense, like as a look. And I remember, like, when the O-line is, like, doing, like, individual drills and everything like that, I would be the guy that would give them a pass rush move or, like...
Because you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, right. And then whenever we play, like, read front teams or, penetrate teams, like, I know exactly, what they're going after and everything like that. And I think it helped me out a lot because it's, like, it's almost like, what do you think I would do? Like, what would I do in that position? And I think college is more closer to that than the NFL. But at the time, through my college experience, like, I was like, what would I do? If I saw this happening and this is how he set, like, what would I do from that? Like, how would I win? And I took that in consideration. I remember my first year going to my second was a huge transition because it was just literally learning. Like, you just sit in the room and, like, you watch film and you're like, oh, I know what he's doing. I know what he's reading. If he's reading his outside shoulder, like, this is going to happen. If he's reading his inside shoulder, this is going to happen, So it's like, just fundamentally being stronger and stronger, I think it helped me progress even more. And being at a center position where it's like, if you get that one block, like, the play is going to go, and, I thought it helped out tremendously. So.
Now, they redshirted you as a freshman. Was that hand in glove with this position change, or do you think that would have happened anyway?
I think it could have been a position change, but I was almost ready I almost burned my red shirt against Iowa. I remember we were down on injuries, and I remember I actually went to a Thursday practice, like, starting that week. And then all of a sudden, I know at the time my O-line coach was, like, certain I was going to start. And then I remember one of my teammates was like, I think it was Michael Dieter. And Michael Dieter was like, I think Dietzen can go. And it was kind of like up to Dietzen, and he was just like, yeah, I can go. And we ended up winning that game. I think it was like 13-7, but, he was hurting, but he fought through the pain and he saved my red shirt. But that year I was pretty close to burning it twice, but, we ended up coming back from injuries, but it's kind of interesting how it all panned out, but...
I gotta say, the beard, I'm thinking about Wisconsin, the Cowboys, the beard. I mean, it's a lot of Travis Frederick vibes is what you're giving off. Did you watch? And also, can I add one other thing? Yes.
Super smart guys.
Super smart.
Super smart guys.
Were you familiar, or did you watch, I know he wasn't there when you were there, but film of him, at Wisconsin, or pay attention to him when he was playing for the Cowboys when you were still in college?
Yeah, actually, we would actually watch a lot of their outside zone films and some gap schemes too. But I mean, at Wisconsin, we were incorporating, like, a lot of outside zone, and we had actual, like, film, and I would watch Travis all the time. Like, it was literally like, if you wanted to look at how your reach block looked, okay, you just go on your iPad, just like how we have one now, and you just go to the Dallas film, and you'd watch his reach block, his footwork, and you just try to get literally as close as you can to his fundamentals. And it was crazy how it changed my game And I talked to him a couple times here when I've been in Dallas, and I told him I'm still learning from you. Like even like you're not in the game anymore, like I'm still learning from him, and he's been he's reached out a lot of times, and he's been there to support me, and if I need anything, and I really appreciate that because we haven't really been face to face a lot of times, but I did meet him one time. It was actually my freshman year in college. We went to the Cotton Bowl. I met him there, and but no, he's a great guy, and he's one hell of a football player, and I'm learning from him still to this day.
Your freshman year, so you didn't play. You were a redshirt, and you played Western Michigan.
Right.
I did that game.
Look at that. Full circle.
Completely. Which of you reached out to the other one first after you were drafted? You and Travis.
Well, he sent me a congratulations text right after. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
We have more to plumb here in this Tyler Biadasz, Travis Frederick NFL. Can I please come back and play again relationship? And yes, the answer to that will be yes, beginning whatever day it is when they play Cincinnati after they play Baltimore, whatever day that is.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour is brought to you in part by Papa John's. Order Papa John's Cowboys Family Special, a large specialty pizza and a large 2-topping pizza for just $24 at papajohns.com. Official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
We'll be right back with Tyler Biadasz on the Cowboys Hour.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertson.
Welcome back. It is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Danny Sarek and our special guest Cowboys Rookie center Tyler Biadasz, whose stint on the injured reserve can end after tomorrow night's game in Baltimore. We were just during the break talking about the IR rules and why would he, but Tyler was not aware of the fact that this year, because of the COVID situation, injured reserve was a minimum of 3 games instead of 6, which it used to be. So see what a bargain you got.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the other thing that people don't realize is you can't practice when you're on IR. You can go out in the field and work with the conditioning staff, but you can't get in practice. And then the other stuff that you were asking him, Danny, I thought was really interesting too.
Yeah, when you're on IR this year, you can't be on the field during games.
Right.
So you were for Pittsburgh because you weren't on IR. You got hurt right before the game started. But then once you went on the IR, you're not allowed to be on the field, which is what we're used to seeing from players who aren't able to play on the iPad and, talking with their teammates about things that they see. So you weren't even able to do that for the last couple of weeks.
Right, exactly. And it's like if I wasn't on IR and it was just for like 1 week or 2 weeks, then I would be able to. But it's very different with like the COVID and the NFL's having like different rules, and it's like almost like it's week to week something's like different or something's changing, or even like with the numbers of how many people can go to the game. If it was like if it was like 70, it went down to 62, or I think they're just making it just as safe as possible. But it's also like it's not the most pleasing way to watch the game on TV, but you just do what you can, and you just at the end of the day you got to be thankful, and that you're gonna be better from it.
What's your demeanor when you were watching the last couple games on TV?
I was following the script, so we have a certain like sheet of plays and everything like that, and I'm like looking at formations, and I'm not like guessing what they're doing, but I'm just like, okay, how are they lining up to that, or what do they do when the replay comes on, or all that stuff. And I can't text anyone, but I'm like, you're kind of like a fan, and it's a different perspective, and as much as that is, I had the last 2 weeks, it's it's that hunger. It's like I get hungry just to come back, and I'm like, you just love it that much more. So, and you have more appreciation when you come back, and I definitely feel it. After they went against the Vikings, I was just like, I wanted to be in the locker room with them. I wanted to be able to celebrate with them, and because they're my brothers and my teammates. And but when they came back, I let them know like how much how good of a job they did, and to pull that off and to have a great comeback like that.
But following the script, that's only the first 25 plays or so, isn't it?
Yeah, after that, you kind of,
Well, what did you do after that? What were you able to absorb?
Well, you get to watch the defense, which, normally you don't really watch them when you're playing the game. So, I remember the last 2 games, you watch like the full game. You watch offense, defense, special teams, and you're not really looking through an iPad anymore during the game. You're not getting water. You're not talking to your teammates anymore. So you get the full entertainment on TV. A little different perspective, but no, it was fun. I still got to watch my teammates. It's not like I couldn't watch the game or anything like that. So I had a good time, and some of the other practice squad players that were not traveling, I made sure I could watch it with them and all that stuff. So, and
you probably had, just as you saying that, once upon a time, if you couldn't travel because of an injury, and there were 3 or 4 guys who were like that, you could just go to somebody's house and watch it. But you probably have to go through protocols to be able to make sure that you can be with 3 other guys who are not traveling, right?
Right, and it's you can't have more than, I think it's like 3 people, in an enclosed area, or if you're at a restaurant, you can't have more than 3, or stuff like that. So I just stay away from it, because it's like all these different ins and outs that they're doing. So I know it's kind of nice to just watch the game though, and just sometimes when you're by yourself or you're with one other teammate, you could really like talk through it all, and it was kind of funny because I actually went back and replayed it if I didn't get it, and I could say like, okay, like what worked here, or how's the double team there, or whatever. But it's different when you're watching the game. It's just you're not used to it.
Now, let me ask you this. When you went out, Zach Martin was playing guard.
Mm-hmm.
While you were on IR, he became the tackle.
Right.
And now he's on IR. And with as few, that happened today, by the way, for people who didn't know, although it was the handwriting was probably on the wall. And I wonder how, I'm asking you to imagine, there's no way to know this, but for instance, as I said, you could see you growing week by week. You could just see you getting better. How much of that had to do with having Zach Martin next to you?
I mean, it had a great impact of like a veteran with you and, honestly answering every question you have. It's nice to be able to talk to him like, they've played, how many times has he played the Philadelphia Eagles or the New York Giants or the Washington Redskins, and to get feedback from him being so reliable, and then, like having all that information and being out with him, because he didn't travel to Washington the first time, but he was still helping as much as he could that week, and just having him there, he's definitely a big presence, but obviously playing with him is a bigger impact, obviously, than him on the sidelines. But he's a great help. He's a great player. Playing with him's amazing, and I appreciate him a lot, just from a leader standpoint and a player standpoint. But yeah, he has a great impact on the game, whether he's out or whether he's in. Obviously, you'd rather have him in, but no, he's helped me a lot, and I'll always appreciate him, and he's a really good friend too.
Yeah, well, when he does his Hall of Fame induction, he'll invite you, but believe me, trust me, it's fun to do. You'll enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
On IR, because the other players that we've had on the show who are on IR were more long-term injuries, like Blake Jarwin, who was on here. But for you, since you're expecting to be able to go back and play, how involved are you able to be in these last couple weeks with the COVID protocols in terms of meetings and, talking with coaches and players? How active and involved have you been able to be while on IR?
Well, I try to be most involved as I can be. I mean, obviously I can't practice, and honestly, that's about it. I'm lifting a little bit more than usual, just to get my strength back and everything like that. But I'm still in meetings. I'm still with the team, and it's literally like, sometimes I get done with doing my rehab training during practice, and I'll go watch practice, and I'll stand right next to the guys and be like, all right, like what happened here, or if they have any questions about anything, or I'm trying to help them out as much as possible. But yeah, other than not practicing, that's about it. But I'd say I'm pretty involved.
Touching back real quick to Zach Martin going on IR, I mean, this offensive line has dealt with their fair share of injuries, I think, to say the least, this year. How, as a position group, are you all staying positive and staying focused and confident in your abilities when you guys are having to change your combinations weekly?
I think we're doing a good job. I think everyone's confident, and everyone's had experience. So it's like, everyone in that room has been playing a lot and a lot of football. We have some rookies, we have some first years, we have some second years, veterans, everything. You have a whole combination. But for how much we practice, and our rotations are very good during practice, so we definitely have a good feel for who we're playing next to and everything like that. And I'm really proud of how much we're responding and how well we're doing with that. And honestly, throughout the last lately we've been really growing, and you definitely can see that.
So I chuckled to myself when Danny and I both asked you stuff about Travis, because you started getting that from day one. You might have got it during the scouting process, for all I know. Wisconsin center, smart guy, team captain and all. And I wonder if at any time have you, maybe even within the last hour, Tyler, for all I know, thought to yourself, okay, that's enough of Travis Frederick, really. I mean, I'm Tyler Biadasz. We don't need to talk about Travis Frederick anymore.
I mean, it's cool that, you can be related to someone of that like caliber, but at the same time, I mean, I know, I'm Tyler Biadasz, and I know he's Travis Frederick, and
so that's a good thing for you to know.
I mean, it's just you get reminded, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have a similar background, and that's approachable. I mean, that's cool. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, just like how you said before, I mean, I'm not saying like enough is enough or anything like that, but I mean, we have some similarities and some traits.
But enough's enough.
Yeah, no more.
I mean, yeah, we're good.
No
okay.
more from us.
All right. So before we take our next break, such a screwy year. You didn't even have a preseason to get your feet wet and get a little taste of the speed of the game and that kind of thing. How do you think you have improved as a football player from the start of the season?
I think it's like you just take it like game by game. And I remember the first game, like I was actually like a backup tight end. We had a goal line package and everything like that. That's how I started off this season. And, so I actually got in that game, and I was on, field goal unit, the first of that. But then you just pick up on some stuff. I mean, I remember my first time going out for PAT, and the last time I went out for PAT that game, it was different. You just keep learning during the game, and that's how you build confidence. And you got to be adaptable. And this game is so unique that you have to be able to still be you have to be able to approach it in a way where you can keep getting better. And how I always learned is you have to stay coachable. You got to be able to find a way to stay coachable, and you got to be able to change preparations each week. You got to be able to adjust to certain looks, and you got to let your ego aside. One play after another, after that play, it's done. It's over. It doesn't even matter anymore. Like, the situation is a situation. It can't be changed. Obviously there's challenges in football, but that's it. Like, and that's how you got to take the game, and that's even day to day. Whether you have a bad practice, like if you maybe had a mistake in practice, like you got to be able to adjust. And honestly, that's how you get looked at, how much you respond. And coming from being a rookie, like during training camp, it was all about getting better every day. And from the first day to the last day, do I look back and say, man, I had a terrible first day? It's look how much you've grown. You got to stay positive. You got to stay like ahead of yourself of what can I build for tomorrow? Like what can I be able to do tomorrow? And it's not always like looking forward, but it's also being present. You got to be able to be present in practice. You got to be able to be present in the meetings, and just keep going forth with your schedule, but don't get too ahead of yourself. It's like the first game I was so antsy. I was so like, it was the beginning of the week, and I'm like, we're going to LA and all this stuff. And now it's like, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Relax.
Yeah.
And
by the way, just so you know, and I think you know this, but you haven't been to LA yet. You went there, you played in an empty building.
Exactly.
And you haven't really been to LA yet.
That was a very interesting thing too, playing with no fans. And that is something else. All
right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that and more when we come back after one more break. Our guest this evening on the Cowboys Hour is Cowboys center Tyler Biadasz.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour is brought to you in part by Omni Hotels and Resorts. This fall, do more than just stay a part. Stay a part of the game and stay a part of the Cowboys. Experience football season at Omni Frisco Hotel, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys, and enjoy all the dining and entertainment options the Star has to offer.
We'll be right back on the Cowboys Hour.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
And welcome back. We are with Cowboys rookie center Tyler Biadasz. I'm not sure he's a rookie anymore after this amount of time. I'm Brad Sham with Danny Sarek, and we will be back again next Monday night. And Dalton Schultz will be our guest next week.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very smart guy and a tremendous conversationalist, as is Tyler Biadasz.
I'd second that. I think, Tyler, you're doing a great job on your first Cowboys Hour.
I appreciate it.
I have to ask you a quick question before we get wherever this leads to about the.
Now I'm intrigued now.
About this upcoming game. It's the time of the year for My Cause, My Cleats around the league, and I'm curious what your cause that your cleats were designed for and why you chose that foundation.
So I chose breast cancer awareness, and then I chose esophageal cancer awareness. And the breast cancer awareness, my mom's first cousin, which would be my second, but she was like an aunt to me, basically. And she had it, and you know how much she like loved life itself, and for who she was as a person, and it was very impactful to me. She passed away, but you know, just the situation itself and how many times you hear, you know, breast cancer awareness comes up, and it's a common thing, unfortunately. And you know, I respect for all the women fighting it, and that was just a very impactful thing for me and my family. And it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you know, I want to raise awareness and you know, continue the fight. And I remember even going back into high school, and I always wear pink to support breast cancer awareness and everything like that. And then I had the esophageal cancer awareness that my grandpa currently has. So we're continuing the fight there too. And he's doing well. He's still doing like treatments and everything like that. But yeah, those were my two. And, you know, it was kind of more so the respect for my family. And those are the, you know, my family's very important to me. I'm a very family-oriented guy. And, yeah, so, you know, I'm supporting, you know, my aunt that passed away and my grandpa that's still fighting. And, you know, we're going to be with him in that fight. And I just wanted to make sure that they know that and in spirit with my aunt, so.
That's wonderful. And for those that don't know, the cleats are auctioned off, and then the money goes towards the foundation that the cleats were designed to support.
So one of the nasty side effects of this unusual year, this virus, is clamping down on travel. People can't just go wherever they want to go whenever they want, and it sounds like this would be the longest time that you have probably been this far away from a family that clearly would love to be able to come watch you all the time, if possible. Has it been harder on you or on them?
I would say at first it was, you know, when you go to a brand new environment, you're very open to like finding out just how everything works. So like you're very distracted, you're very occupied. And I would say, I think at first I wasn't very, you know, impacted by it, because like you build new friends, you onto a new team, the excitement of opportunity. But I remember you know, just leaving home, how emotional it was, because it was just that next chapter in your life that was so driven by so many goals and everything like that. And I saw my mom and my dad, and when I left, you know, there was definitely tears in their eyes, and you know, it's not often my mom cries. So, but I would say it's on both, really. And you know, I make sure to FaceTime them, you know, as much as I can and everything like that. But you know, I haven't seen my mom and dad since July, you know, but I've seen my brother a couple times. He's come down to some games. But otherwise, it's been an interesting year. But no, I make sure my family's doing well, and I call them. But it's easier when you're distracted, but also, I'm not in their shoes either. So I know when they text me, they want to talk and catch up and everything, and I make sure to have time for them too.
I would tell you, speaking as a dad, I would vote for it being harder on your parents. But that's just me. Everybody's perspective is different. Gosh, I can't even imagine what Thanksgiving was like and what you imagine Christmas will be like.
Yeah, not being home or be able to see them. So normally, like, every year I'm able to see them at the game for the Thanksgiving week or the Christmas at the bowl game or whatever it is back in college. But with this 2020 pandemic, it's, we couldn't leave on the bye week, and normally you have a bye week and you always hear like to go back home and all this stuff. And, we couldn't leave, and just with the protocols, and, I think it was a lot harder on them. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things where you gotta be able to do what you can do, and you can do what you control or whatever, and you just kind of roll with the punches. And this life is it's difficult right now, but at the same time, you got to make the most out of it, and stay thankful that everyone's okay, and you have FaceTime to be able to be fortunate for that, and to see them and everything like that. But I definitely have a good time whenever I get to FaceTime my mom and dad and my brother.
Can I tell you, I can't wait to meet your parents. I mean, I'm fired up to meet them. So let's pretend that they came down here for Thanksgiving weekend. Mm-hmm. Would Mom have cooked a big spread?
I would definitely imagine her doing that.
And what's her specialty for Thanksgiving dinner? What would she have put together?
Oh, well, usually whenever I had Thanksgiving at home, it would always be like during deer hunting season. So we would always have Thanksgiving at one grandparent's, and we'd have turkey, ham, stuffing, and desserts like pumpkin pie, all this stuff. And then because we go hunting first, and all of a sudden you didn't eat from like 6 to 10, and all of a sudden you'd eat that for lunch, and all of a sudden you go out maybe for another hour and come back in, and then all of a sudden you go to the other grandparents' house, and then you'd have
do it again,
the same thing over again, and then sometimes you want to go back out, or sometimes you just want to take a nap and watch football, Thanksgiving football. So no, but definitely like stuffing, like ham. Oh man, big stuffing fan, big fan of ham. Turkey. Pumpkin pie with ice cream, that's always good, or like pumpkin cake. It's just Thanksgiving.
You're killing me right now, Tyler.
You're killing me, man. Yeah. I'm freaking listing off all this stuff. I'm going back in my good old days back in high school, man.
Tyler, as soon as you said deer hunting, Brad and I looked at each other as like our ears perked up.
We got like 45 seconds left.
Okay, real quick. Is that something you miss most about right now? Being here.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I haven't deer hunted since my senior year of high school, because you get going back for Thanksgiving like meals. Like I haven't really done that since high school, because college took up my time. But no, I mean, I miss being able to do activities like that all the time.
All right, we're going to have to look forward to the next opportunity we have to ask Tyler to compare hunting notes with what Blake Jarwin gave us, and you want to talk to Blake about that. Tyler, thank you very much. Look forward to you being back on the field, maybe as soon as Sunday. Thanks for your time tonight.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. For Danny Surek, I'm Brad Sham. This is the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?